Hey guys, just wanted to welcome you to my channel. I am the radio guy. I'm the founder of the California GMRS Systems. It's a linked group of GMRS repeaters. Today, we're going to talk about installing a GMRS antenna on your car. And what we have today is a 7-inch antenna. That's a quarter wave. GMRS is 460 megahertz, 460 to 467 or 468. So it only requires a 7-inch antenna. That's pretty darn small. You don't have to worry about going into parking garages. This is a way for you to mount it on your car, and you can just plug the coax into your mobile radio or your handheld radio inside the car, and you don't have to worry about diminished signal because you have your handheld radio and your handheld antenna inside the vehicle. You always want to have it outside the vehicle, and that's what we're doing today. So stay tuned and I'll take you through the process. All right, so these are the products we're going to be installing today. I'm a big fan of Diamond antenna. They're top quality. They use stainless steel hardware. Really top end machining on these products. Good quality. I wouldn't go with anything else. I know the market's huge. You go on eBay, there's all different kinds of brands. I prefer Diamond. The first thing is we're going to be using a Diamond K400 C NMO mount. This has dual axis, so you can mount your antenna on almost any angle on your car and then still have it vertical with all the adjustments they have. This has an NMO mount. I'll show you the other kind of mount later in the video. Next to that is a C110BNC adapter. What this does, that little coil of wire, that extends the cable of the antenna mount. The antenna mount only has a 5 or 6 foot, so 6.5 foot cable. So if you can't get from your mounting surface to your radio in 6.5 feet, then you're going to need an extension cable, and the extension cable is the C110BNC. There's also a UHF extension cable, but I prefer the BNC end. For those of you that don't know, the BNC is the type of plug that pushes on and twists to lock into place. And I like that because it's easier to attach to my handheld radio. If you have the big coax connection, let me just show you here. If you have this sticking out the top of your handheld radio, you're likely going to break off your antenna mount. That's way too much weight for your handheld radio. So I prefer to get adapters that have this BNC connection. This is much easier to adapt to your handheld radio. These adapters are readily available on eBay. Just type in Baofeng to BNC, that's Bravo November Charles. And you can get these adapters. Makes it really easy to adapt to your handheld radio. You can also get a BNC to UHF, which will turn your cable back into this connector if you're mounting it to a mobile radio. All right, next up we have is the antenna we're using today, which is made by Laird. It's only 7 inches long. Let's see if I can get this here. Laird Technologies 450 to 450 to 470 ultra wave antenna, black, new. That's what the packaging looks like. I have a magnetic mount antenna right above my setup here, and I just wanted to show you that's the antenna installed on a magnet mount antenna, magnet mount based. If that's all you can do is put a magnet on top of your car, that's fine. You know, you can only do with what you have to work with. Personally, I prefer to drill a hole on top of my car and do a permanent mount, but the car I'm working with doesn't have the roof space to do that, and I'll explain that in a little bit. So that's why we're going to be doing this clamp mount made by Diamond. Some of the tools you might need to do this is a flat screwdriver, a set of Allen wrenches, and I'll go through that a little bit later. One thing I do want to point out is the size difference in the magnet mount coax versus the coax you're going to be using to go through your car. Let me grab these for a second. Diamond makes this coax so it's really narrow. You can see the difference there. The narrow coax is going to be able to squish past your weather stripping, and the coax comes hardened, so it's not going to squash the coax. When you start slamming this thick coax on the magnet mount in your car door or your trunk hatch over and over and over again, this is going to break. There's a little piece of copper in here that's your center conductor, and it's going to break after you slam that a few times. When you get the correct mounts for your car, you're not going to have that issue. All right, so this is our car we're working on today. It's a 2010 Subaru Forester, and I'll take you around. One of the reasons we're not going to be mounting an antenna on top of the car is that there's a huge sunroof right here. This sunroof slides all the way back in the sheet metal here to right about where that antenna is, and I don't want to pierce that roof where that glass might be sliding back into the sheet metal. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to mount it right here on the corner. All right, here's the mount. There's what the top looks like. And when you turn this around, there you go. You can see the lip. The lip is going to slide right over the edge of the trunk hatch, and then there's set screws. The screws come all the way tightened down, so I need to back out the screws, and then we're going to slide it on the lip and re-tighten it. There we go, there's focus. Now you can see the set screws. And the mount came with the right size wrench, so you don't, I had my wrenches out for the first part of the video, but you don't even need those, because if you open up and look at the rest of your packaging, it's going to have all the tools you need to make this installation happen. When you put this up on your car, make sure you have it in the spot that you want it, because once you tighten these down, the tips are a little pointy and they're going to pierce your paint. The antenna mount is going to ground to the body of the car. So what I did was I snugged up all the screws. I put it where I want the mount. I put the mount where I wanted it, and then I snugged up the screws. I didn't crank them down yet because I want to do a dry fit to make sure everything's going to work. I'm going to gently close the hatch. Just to see how it fits. There's some caps right here that you can remove. All right. And what that allows you to do is it allows you to adjust your mount so it's vertical. I'm going to go ahead and do that now. It's not going to be the final adjustment. You can see the screw here for the elevation. We may have to fine tune this later, but at least gives you an idea. I think that looks pretty good. All right, I'm going to open the trunk, and then I'm going to set the screws down on the lip nice and tight. All right, after you make your way through all the screws and you think they're tight, go back through until all of them continue to have the same amount of tension across all four. You might find that once you tighten one or two up, the other ones get loose again, so you want to make sure they're all snug. There's not going to be a lot of weight on the 7-inch antenna, but you don't want your antenna flying off when you're going down the freeway. All right, now we're going to close the hatch and do one more test fit. I am going to go ahead and put the coax through the door this time. Try to figure out where this is going to go down. The car's kind of dirty. All right, here we go. The screws are tight. Beautiful. All right, so what I did is I opened up the antenna. This is our 7-inch antenna. It comes with a base, and you can see there's a flat edge here, and there's a flat edge here. And what that allows you to do is use a crescent wrench to tighten it. So you're going to slip the antenna through the base. Now it's ready to go, just like that. The antenna also comes with a rubber O-ring. This is for if you're mounting your antenna flat against the sheet metal of the car. It's to help keep it from not leaking through the inside of your car. We're not going to use this today because it's not going on sheet metal. So these two parts are all we're going to need. All right, one thing I do want to cover, this is called dielectric grease. I always recommend you put this on your antenna threads before you put your antenna on. I didn't do this, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to unscrew the antenna, put dielectric grease on, and then reattach it. What this does is it helps keep moisture out, but it also keeps the antenna from seizing up. It's going to be in weather, water, heat, and cold, and you don't want the antenna seizing onto the mount. So just get a little glob on your finger. You don't want to put it in the center. You're just going around the threads on the outside. This is one of those things they don't tell you to do. And a lot of radio shops cut corners, even they don't want to do it. But if you've been around a radio guy long enough, a professional one that knows what he's doing, you always want to put a little bit of dielectric grease. Dielectric means it's not conductive. It's not going to pass current through it. It's not going to short anything out. All right, your crescent wrench needs to open up to about a 1/2 inch. And we're not going to crank it down. We're just going to make it snug. All right, that looks good. All right, so I didn't record me trying to stuff the coax into the body panels because I wasn't sure which route I was going to go. But you can see here how it comes down. It comes down, and I just tucked it behind the panel here, and it comes down at an angle. If I was really ambitious, I could rip this whole panel off and do a real nice job, but it's tucked right along the window here and goes down. This panel where the seat belt is really easy to pop off. So the coax is coming down through here and then gets tucked back behind this cushion. All right, here's the cushion is loose, and I was able to stuff it back through here. This is the end of the 6.5 foot coax that comes with the mount. So I screwed on the adapter for the extension. This is going to come down, and I didn't have to pull this part off. I was able just to push it through, and then it came out right in the door jamb right here. And then from here, it's going to go down under the carpet in a diagonal line underneath the front seat. I'll show you that in just a minute. So the carpet had factory holes cut out. There's one there and one there underneath the front seat. I didn't cut any of this. What I did was I stuffed an electrical wire, a solid core wire, underneath the carpet all the way over to the passenger side where I could grab it, and that's how I pulled the coax through. So you can see the coax here, and I've got enough to come up here next to the center console. There's the electrical wire that I used to pull the coax underneath the carpet. I'm going to take off the electrical tape and finish this up, and I'll show you the final product here in just a minute. Alright, so I tightened up all the coax points, put the car back together, and coming out right underneath the seat here is the coax right there. So it goes from here underneath the seat mount, and I've got about 4 feet here left over. If I want to hook this up to my handheld radio, the only thing I would need to do is to get this adapter, screw this onto the top of my radio, then clip it right into the coax. If I was going to do a mobile radio, which I might do in here, the only other thing I would do is I'd probably cut a hole right here in the carpet and then bring the coax through here. So I would run the coax under the carpet from the point here all the way over here, and that way it doesn't get tangled up in someone's feet. You also have the option is you can take the coax and you can stuff it underneath the lip right here to hide it too. Either way would be fine. Well, I want to thank you guys for watching the video today. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to like the channel, subscribe. We're going to be doing all kinds of new videos out here for you to learn more about GMRS, ham radio, and emergency preparedness and communications. I want all of you to be safe, and we'll catch you next time on the next video. All right, 73 from the radio guy.